Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody today? Oh, okay. So I'm hoping you can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. If you're in chat at the moment, please do let me know if you can hear me. Oh, apparently you can hear me. Okay, cool. Awesome. That's really cool. All right. So today this is our third episode of our budgeting lives. Let's just put chat there so I can read it from here. Here we go. And it's 10 things to think about before you start shopping, basically, before you buy anything. And we're not just talking about big purchases, we're talking about little ones as well. So pretty much buying anything. If you need to buy anything, these are things I'd like you to think about, or you could think about before you make those purchases. Okay. Yeah, really important stuff. Before we start though, I do want to say this. Now, I am aware there are a lot of people who watch these who are either retired or on social funding or government benefits or whatever. These are here to help you as well. I was on them for 10 years before Tani got his job in November last year. We were living on £7,000 a year. Okay, so I am aware that some things can be more difficult, but there are ways around it, and we can do things and put things in order for ourselves. We just have to use the tools that I'm sharing with you, because these are all tools that Tanya and I have used over the last, goodness knows how long, and before I was with him, I used them myself. So they're all things that, tools that we can all use no matter where we are in life. Okay. I don't want anyone to feel like they are put out in any way or that they can't use the tools that I have, because, Tani's working now. Okay. But I have been where you are. It's not a fun position to be in. I was also a single parent with 2 kids, and unable to work for 5 years because of my kids being so little, etc. So, and at one point, my eldest son was so injured with his knee that he needed to be looked after at home. So I wasn't able to work then either. I'm fully aware of different situations. I've lived them. I've been through them. I've come out the other side of them. These are all here. These are all tools and ideas that I have used and put together in my life, and Tani has adopted as well, together with me, to make life easier for both of us, and I want to share those with you, because even if you can only use a few of them, use a few of them. I'm not here to say you have to use all of them. It's about finding what works for you, finding your balance, and finding what systems work, what tools work, and what ideas work. And if you have some that you use that I don't mention, please do share them in either the chat if you're here live or in the comments below, okay, later on, because on any type of social media that I have, all those links are down in the description, because all of us coming together and all of us sharing these ideas is what helps each other, okay? No one has the story that hasn't been told yet, okay? So no one's been in a situation where no one else has been yet. There's always someone who has been in a similar situation to you, and we all help each other, okay? And I want that to be what this is about. This isn't about, waggling the waggly finger at anybody, because that doesn't help anyone. All right? So today we're going to go through 10 things to think about before making a purchase. Okay. And the very, very first thing that is absolutely top of the list is ask yourself if it's a need or if it's a want. Now, a need is something that is essential to life. It's things like your basic food necessities. It's things like your, it may be that you need certain cooking equipment. It may be that your washing machine's died and you may need one of those. It's not things like the bar of chocolate or the specialty cooking equipment like a little sous vide machine or something like that. That's a want. Okay. What I'm talking about is the needs. Okay. So what Tanny and I do is that we have a list. We have a list of things that are under £50, and we also have a list of things that are under £20, brand new. And we have a list for things that are over £50, and we have those as our want lists. And we also have a needs list, but it's very much more of a wants list, and we have those things on that list. Now, for us, what I do, is something that I will get into later on, okay? But definitely knowing whether what you are looking at or what you are wanting to purchase or needing to purchase is a need, and not getting it confused with a want. If it's something that you cannot live without, and I mean cannot live without, I don't mean, but next door neighbor's got one, so I have to get one, or so-and-so's got one, or so-and-so said I had to get one. That's a want. It's still a want. It's not a need. Okay, a need is a necessity for life. It's an essential item or bill or utility or something, but it's not, you want it. Of course you want it, but it's a necessity for life. Whereas a want is something that you you can live without. It's not something that's going to change your life dramatically, because you don't have it right now. Right. So it could be something that you get 6 months down the track, or a year down the track, or a week down the track. It's not something that's, right now I really need to get that. And, so you need to learn to prioritize those two things. And that is the very, very, very top of this list. Any list to do with shopping or making a purchase is it a need or a want? Okay. So number 2 is it a false economy? Now, when you're making purchases, it's really easy to go, well, I'm going to get that one because it's cheap. Okay, I'll get the cheap version, and then I won't worry if it gets broken or something like that. Now, this is great when you've got kids. And when your kids turn into teenagers and they're going through shoes every 3 months because their feet are just growing enormously in that time, purchasing cheaper shoes, there's nothing wrong with that, because they're going to grow out of them before they wear out, mostly. And there's no point in spending £100 on a pair of shoes for a child that's going to wear them out in 3 months' time, or less than that, depending on how rough your kids are. The most I spent on my kids' shoes when they were going through high school and primary school was about £20. $20 actually, because we were in Australia, so it was $20, which was less than tenner over here in the UK, because it wasn't worth it. It really, really wasn't worth it. I still bought them cheap shoes for going out shoes, because they would probably wear them maybe once a month, maybe 3 times before they grew out of them. And yes, they got passed on to younger siblings or friends or kids that were living with us, as I was a foster parent. But, it didn't matter, because they were going to be grown out of very, very quickly. As an adult, it's a little bit of a different story. and looking for things that, if you're looking for, say, kitchen equipment, say you're looking at pots and pans, all right? You don't want to get the cheap pots and pans unless you have absolutely no choice. And if you have absolutely no choice and you're starting from scratch, I would very much suggest you get one pot, one pan. That is it. You do not need more than that. And then you save your money and you go and buy decent pots and pans from your nearest cookware store, like Nisbet's, which is a catering. So you get catering restaurant quality pots and pans. Okay. These things will last an apocalypse. Okay. You can throw them. It doesn't matter how many times you chuck them across the room or they get smacked around or whatever, but they are cheaper than buying some of the posh sets that you see, and they will last you a lifetime if you look after them. They're heavy duty, they're good wearing, and if you use them properly, they will last you a lifetime. They last 5 to 10 years in a restaurant where they're getting hammered every single day, being used 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times a day. You know, they're going to last you in a household environment 40, 50 years if you look after them properly. That's my suggestion. I'm a little biased. I prefer it myself because I was a chef, and I know they're also cheaper than the posh sets that you get in different places. And even if you're just buying one piece at a time, it's worth it just to put that little bit of money aside to save up to get decent pots and pans, because at the end of the day, they're an investment for you, for your household, and for your family. Okay? So looking at something being a false economy is really, really important. Just because something's cheaper doesn't mean that the quality is good. Okay, so say, for example, so my processor and blender last year kicked the bucket. I had a separate blender and processor, and the processor that I had, I bought secondhand. I bought a second one identical to it. They were a Kenwood, so they're really, really good, but I'd managed to pick up two identical ones for under £30 at a charity shop, secondhand shop. So I picked these two up, and one was spares and repairs for the other one. Hi, time to shine. How you doing? And it finally kicked the bucket. There was nothing I could do, and they didn't make the parts for it anymore, so I couldn't order a new bowl for it because it just doesn't exist. Doesn't exist because it's like 20 years old or something. So I needed a new food processor because of my hands and such. It's useful for me. And at the same time, my blender, which was brilliant, decided never to turn on again. And I was very, very sad. So Tanny and I discussed the fact that I want to have a separate blender and processor because it's better. Okay, because if you've got a combined system of food processor and blender, if one of them breaks, then the whole thing is basically stuffed, right? So we decided that at that moment in time, we couldn't afford separate ones. So I would get the best one that I could find that we could afford, that was in the budget that we had put aside, until we could get a separate each unit. So we bought this one. And I have to say, it's already buggered. I'm not going to lie. The grinder lasted doing the whole series of doing the herbs and spices, and then you can't even see through it anymore. And the blender jug already has a crack through it. The processor bowl itself already has a crack through it. So it was a lot of money that was spent on something that we can't get spare parts for because it's a generic one, and I can't use it anymore. So that was a false economy, but we figured it would be okay, because by the time that it finally went, we would be able to get the processor and blender. And that's what we're going to be doing shortly. Doing good, my dear. We found outside eggs. Yay! So I haven't laid eggs since through the cold winter, so we're happy. Oh, that is so awesome. Eggies. I love fresh eggs. I miss my chickens. I'm not allowed chickens here, unfortunately. But, one day we'll have chickens in the backyard again, because I love having chickens in the backyard. They're really fun. So, yeah, figuring out whether the purchase you want to do is a false economy, it's really, really important. Sometimes it's better off to do without that middle item and just put the money aside, do things by hand, which I really should have done looking back on it, but hindsight and all that kind of thing. Okay, so number 3 is calculate how much money you have to spare in your budget. Okay, so you're working out what your budget is. We did that in episode 1. We worked out a budget, and then if you've got specific purchases, you want to put a certain amount aside each month or each week or whenever you get paid or whenever your money comes in for that. I can't wait to have a backyard that I can use without worrying about other people. So, yeah, it's important to do that. One of the things that I do is I put money aside each month for home purchases that are under 20 quid, so under £20. Wherever you are, that could be under $20 or whatever your equivalent would be. So last month, or rather this month, I purchased a bale of towels. So 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and a few face washers, and it was £15. Yay. And they weren't bad quality, actually, which means that I now know, I did take a risk on them. I now know that quality is actually okay, and that when they went through the washing machine and everything, they didn't fall apart, the dye didn't come out. They were actually really not bad towels for the money, which you have to kind of consider as well, because sometimes cheap towels can be really, really bad. So I do things like that. And yeah, sometimes we think about other things as well. So just making sure that you've got that spare money from your budget. If you don't have that money, put a little bit aside, even if you're emptying out your coins from your pocket and putting them in a jar, and then maybe once every 6 months or once a year, seeing what's in that jar and using it for the things that you need to get. Okay, number 4, look into secondhand options. One man's trash is another man's treasure is such a brilliant saying, and something that I tend to live by. If I can find what I want secondhand, I will get it. Okay, or if it's something that we need, if it's on the list of things, I tend to go through places like Facebook Marketplace and Free Cycle and secondhand shops all the time. Okay, I will look everywhere for these things. Truly love you too, guys. Really, really do. So Tani is very much of one of the things that I hear from him a lot is, will you just get off Facebook? What are you buying now? And it's just because I've got my list of needs or lists of wants, and I know what's on there, and I will go through and see if there's anything on there that we can get cheaper than we would do brand new. We needed a lot of wood for raised beds, and last year I managed to find secondhand decking boards from people that were replacing decks or just ripping them out and refurbishing their gardens and stuff like that people were just giving them away. So we went and got a whole carload full for nothing, for the cost of the petrol, which may be, and since it was around the corner, it was actually probably 5 minutes drive away, not even that. It cost us less than a £5 in petrol. So it was worth it. And we've got them sitting out there now waiting for the raised beds to be built when we move. So yeah, that's the kind of thing, is looking at your options. If you've got pots that you want to get, I'm always looking in the gardening section on places like Facebook Marketplace, because people are giving away pots all the time, garden pots and things like this and things for the garden. And there, if you can get hand tools and things like that are really, really cheap, pick them up because it's worth it. A hand drill, all the really old hand tools, people tend to give them away very, very cheaply. And you know what? If you've got no battery on your drill, if there's no electric for whatever reason, like I said, here in the UK, we have to many of us have to pre-purchase our electric and gas, like you would do put credit on your phone. And you don't want to be wasting that money charging up batteries. So using hand tools is really cool. And if you can get them secondhand off somewhere like Facebook or Free Cycle, do it. Okay, number 5. All right, so for bigger items, okay, or say you're having a party, it's an anniversary or something like that, and you realize you don't have enough glasses or whatever, maybe hiring is a short-term solution. Hiring the stuff. There are supermarkets that actually will just give them out to you as long as you bring them back, wash them and bring them back. I think Coles in Australia still does. They do glass hire, and it's only like a small deposit of like $20 or something like that, and you get boxes and boxes of things. Way cheaper than going out and buying 50 to 100 glasses that you're never going to use again. Just go and see what your options are. Find out what your options are. Or if you've got a big piece of equipment that you want to get, if you can't pick it up secondhand cheaply, maybe go and hire it. It might be cheaper to hire it. Try that option. That's another option as well. Townshine always buys cheap stuff from yard sales. There's always a lot of cool treasures. There are so many cool treasures. There's not a lot of yard sales over here because not everybody has a yard, and most people's front door is on a double yellow line in the middle of the street. Mine used to be. So you couldn't have yard sales because they didn't have them. So having options, there are other options here which they're worth it. They really are worth it. Okay, so always know your substitute as well. That's number 6. Now, your substitute is knowing what you want to get or you need to get and having 2 options, okay? 2 or 3 options. And what you want to do is you want to make a list of what you want. What are the essential functions that you want that piece of equipment or that purchase to come with? Now, you need to work out what your needs and wants are in that. Okay, it's really, really important. So say you're buying a car. Okay, so you want it to be fuel efficient. You want it to work. You want it to work. That should be really the first thing, right? Okay, so you want it to work. You want it to get from A to B safely. You want to have decent storage for shopping or work equipment, perhaps stock if you run a market stall or something. If you live in a hot area, you might want it to have aircon. If you live in colder climate, you might want to have heating. And you want it to be comfortable to sit in, right? Those are your needs, okay? What your wants would be things like sat-nav, Bluetooth, massive stereo system, heated seats, which, can I just say, are just the weirdest thing ever when you've never, ever, ever experienced them. I'm just warning you, okay? It's not you, it's the seats. It's very hard to budget now for prices so high. It is. It is. And that's partly why I'm doing this. In fact, this is the whole reason I'm doing this, because it is so hard right now and it's only getting worse. And as of next month, well, yeah, so next week, we have not only got tax hikes, we've just had the fuel hikes, and the fuel hikes are about to happen again. We've got electricity and gas hikes and tax hikes and national insurance hikes. So between all of it, our bills will be skyrocketing per month by probably half our savings money. And I mean, by half our savings money, we were saving, at this point, we were probably saving about £800 a month. As of next month, we may only be saving around £400 once all the taxes and everything are paid and stuff, because obviously Tanny is self-employed, as am I. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and we're going to have to very much look at our budget again. One of the things that we will be doing, and I don't know if it's next week I'm going to go into this. Hang on, let me just double check. I might have to go into it in a little bit, actually, as part of the last half-hour-y bit. Yeah, but we're going to go into it a little bit more at that point. Okay, so number 7 is do your research. Now, I spend hours, and I mean hours, researching. If you ask me to look for something for you, I will find it, because I have a list longer than I can tell you of places to purchase from specific products that are cheaper than supermarkets, even with shipping. And if you're clever with what you purchase from different places, you will find that you will get free shipping. Where I go to get our Whole Foods from, our bulk Whole Foods, like our herbs, our spices, our grains, our beans, all of that kind of dry food stuff. I wait until I can have an order over £30. When I get an order over £30, and I'm also on their newsletter list. If you have an order over £30, it's free delivery anywhere in the country. Free delivery. Then each week they have a that's all right, darling, off you go. Go and have fun. Enjoy it. Big love to you, honey. Mwah. Okay, thanks for being here. Yeah, so not only do I have the free delivery, because I make sure that my order is over £30, but I have a look at what their weekly offer is. Sometimes it's if you make an offer. This week, I believe, I'm just going to have a look. Just going to quickly have a look in my email. All right, so this week, if you spend over £40, you get a kilo of organic chia seeds for free if you use the code they send you. Now, I tend to wait until it's something that I am more likely to use. So it could be things like walnuts, Brazil nuts, anything like that will, that is more likely to be something that I would use. That is what I would be doing. So I will wait a few weeks until the item comes up that I want or I have more use for. This is how I get my cashew nuts. This is how I get my walnuts. This is how I get my almonds. And so I get something that's worth anywhere between £10 and £15 because I've spent over £40 on stuff that I was going to buy anyway. And I get the free delivery because it's over a certain amount for the free delivery. That way, I've actually saved myself around £30 just from getting that free bag of whatever it was that I was going to buy anyway, but because it was on offer that week, I've got it for free, and also from the free shipping because I made my order to the size that I would get the free shipping. These are really, really good things to consider. Also, if you're going to want to buy things like regional ingredients, so things like soy sauce or chili sauce or things like that, look online at the Asian grocery store. If you have an Asian grocery store near you, shop there. Honestly, shop there. Okay? You will get the big bottles, not the little bottles, but the big bottles of what you're looking for half the price of the small bottles that you get in the supermarkets. What you're buying in the supermarkets is you're paying for convenience. What you're buying in the Asian grocery store is what they use. And it's going to be more authentic, and you're going to want to use it more because you're going to be able to afford to do it. Also, having a look in the Asian grocery stores, if you're looking for certain herbs and spices, especially Indian herbs or Chinese herbs or Thai herbs, have a look in their dried herb section because you will get the big bags for less than the cost of the little jars. Not even kidding. Some of those little jars are up to £4 or £5 now. Yet you can get a big packet of 200 to 400, 500 grams of certain herbs and spices for less than a cost of that. So have a look at places, do your research, look, and look again. If you are going to make a big purchase, spend a month doing your research. If you want to walk up and down the shops in the street, go and do that. Look through all of them. If you don't have access to internet at home, go to the library. Do your research there. Anyway, that you can find information on different products, find it, look for it, but do your research before you do anything else. One of the things that we wanted to have a look at, and it's something that Tanny really, 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 really wants, and he wants a really decent coffee machine. He wants one with a grinder. He's very specific about what he wants here. He wants a milk frother, and he wants a grinder, and he wants a thing at the top that keeps the cups warm. Okay? Cool. We know exactly what he wants, right? So I went and I had a look for a coffee machine with those specific items on it. Now, they're not cheap. They're not cheap, but it's something he wants. And because he works bloody hard for it, I don't see why he shouldn't have it. So at some point, we will be getting him a coffee machine. But the specific coffee machine that we were looking at, that he was happy with, that he likes, is about £320. In probably 90% of the places, anywhere between £320 and £350. Now, this is an investment item. This is not something that you just want to go out and, get a Starbucks. This is an investment item that we're putting that money into because we know that the quality is good and it's going to keep us happy for the next 20, 30, possibly 40 years. Who knows? Okay, but it's worth the investment because it does all the things. One place, which is a department store, a well-known department store, had exactly the same coffee machine for more than double the price of everywhere else because it's being sold in that department store. They were selling it for £740, where everywhere else is selling it for £320, £330, around about there. But £730 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, especially for a machine that you could go online, get it delivered for less than the cost that they're putting it on in their shelf for you to go in, walk around and take home with you. It pays to do your research. Not everything, just because it's in a store with a name on it, is going to be cheaper than you can find it online, or cheaper than you can find it online and get it delivered. Okay? it's important. Also, when you go and do your research, you can find people selling the item that you want. It could be on offer at a certain place where it's not on offer anywhere else. Now, Tanny made a purchase yesterday that he wanted to make for my Christmas present. Then he wanted to make it for my birthday and he didn't. We found it online yesterday and it was 60% off. Okay, 60% off. It's like, thank you very much. So it's arriving in the next couple of days and I'm very, very happy about it. But it's also an investment item. We've purchased an industrial catering grade dehydrator. And it, like I said, it was a lot of money off it. And Tanny's happy because he's from Yorkshire and he's tight. He doesn't like putting his hand in his pocket. But he found it. He liked it. He said, I found your dehydrator and now we're waiting for it to arrive. So I may have to get up. I don't know. Whether it arrives today or tomorrow, I can't tell you. Right. So, yeah, do your research. Whether it saves you pennies, pounds, cents or dollars, all the cents add up to dollars. All the pennies add up to pounds. And it's important. Okay. So just do your research. Don't just go to a shop and expect it all to be cheap and wonderful, because it's not going to be. You're going to be better off if you shop about. Okay. All right. Number 8. Check your labels. Check your labels. Check your price tags. Check your sources on any numbers given where they say, oh, it's 50% off, 60% off. Because, you know, you want to have a check. All right. Now, the reason you want to have a check is this. Some of them only remove the sales tax or the VAT. If you live in the UK, it's VAT. If you live in Australia, it's GST. If you live everywhere else, I think it's sales tax. It could be called whatever it is where you're living, but they may have just removed that, which means that you're going to be hit with it when you get to the checkout. Yeah. Rude, isn't it? But the other thing about looking at the price tags over here in this country in particular and in Australia that I know of, you'll have 2 prices. You'll have the main price up here in big bold on the label, and then in the corner there will be price per weight. Now, before you freak out about the price that's on the front, read the price per weight, and then check it against all the other products in that category. Okay, and double check what is worth its weight and what's not. Okay, because that's where you're going to save your pennies. All right. Now, the other thing, one of the big ones that I find over here that catches everybody is tuna. One of the things in Australia is that you can buy big tins of tuna. You know, the really big family tins of tuna. They're about this size. I think they're about 400 grams, 400 to 500 grams. Sorry, I'm getting hot. Gram tins. They're a lot cheaper than buying a stack of 5 or 6 tins. Plus, it's a lot less tin, right? So, having a look at that, really quite important. All right. So, there are very few places here in this country that you can actually buy the big tins. And it's normally the posh supermarkets that sell it, like Waitrose, Sainsbury's, the delivery company Ocado sell it. Also, the other places you can look at are Caribbean, Caribbean grocery stores. It's one of the best ones for it. Thai, Asian grocery stores sometimes have them as well. Okay, but they are cheaper than buying the smaller tins. Unless sometimes we have found a little tray of tins that has only cost like £2 or £3. And we've picked those up because they've got 12 tins on them. So, you know. But check your labels. Okay, check your labels and check your labels. Right. So number 9 is Small print. Read the small print. It's pretty much the same as read the price tags, right? Okay, so read the small print. If you're making a big purchase, you need to read that fine print. If you're not reading that fine print, you could be left in a hole, okay? Your fine print will tell you about your insurance. It will tell you about your rights. It will tell you what comes with what you're buying. It may be that the thing on the piece of paper is not exactly what you are ending up with. You might not end up with the special parts that go with it, and you might end up having to purchase those separately. Even though that there is a picture of the whole thing, there are some pretty strict advertising laws now that stop that kind of thing, but there are ways around them, and that's what they do. The other thing is, and I want you to remember this one, okay, because this is really, really important. If you read your contracts when it comes down to your insurance and stuff, and there is things on your car insurance, your house insurance, that isn't covered, write it on there and send that copy back after initialing it. Okay? Add those things on yourself if you've initialed it and put the date on it. They cannot disregard it. Not kidding. Okay? Be aware of that. So read your insurance policies and make sure of the fine print. Fine print is really, really where they will catch you out every single time. So important to read the fine print. Right. So, okay. So if you're making a big purchase, you're going to make a big purchase, sleep on it. Talk about it. Don't do it then and there. Don't let your emotions go, oh, yay, we've got to have this right now. And then go and spend a lot of money you don't have. Or find out that if you'd waited a week or so, it would be down by half price. You know, these are things that you really, really need to look out for. Bigger purchases, I tend to like to wait 3 to 6 months actually before making an actual purchase. I will do my research. Some things I'm quite happy to live without for a couple of years, if it means that's how long it's going to take us to save for it. I don't like having loans. I don't like having any kind of credit like that. If I can't afford to buy it cash, I won't purchase it. If I find it meantime the exact thing that I want, and it's secondhand and it's working and it's fine and it doesn't need much work on it, it's good condition, then I will purchase it. Because why not? Especially because normally they're less than a quarter of the price of them brand new. So it's like, thank you very much. I wouldn't get that brand new for that price ever. Especially when it comes to investment purchases. This is a thing that you have to understand as well. Investment purchases. Investment purchases are something that you have for your well-being, your quality of life. Okay? Investment purchases are things like anything that makes your life better, okay, that you want for a long time. All right, so we're not talking about consumable items. We're not talking about food, unless it's long-term storage, dry pantry, long-term storage food. That's a completely different thing. What I'm talking about is investment items. So your sheets, your towels, any kinds of linens, all investment items. Blankets, quilts, all investment items. Pots, pans, cutleries, plates, crockery, investment items. Okay, sure. All right. Have some cheap stuff around if you've got little kids. We all know what they do. We know what they do. We also know what the teenagers do. We know. We just know. Okay. My kids used to have, see, in Australia, they used to sell a type of jam that I used to get for the kids because it was very, very cheap. and you'd get a free glass with it. The jar was the glass, and it was an actual glass. So I didn't care if they broke them. I didn't care that they broke them. Didn't care. Not at all. And they loved them. So they used to get them from things like Nutella, or the one that we got. It wasn't actually a Nutella. It was a cheaper brand, but it came with a glass. We used to get that particular jam. We used to get honey. Honey used to come in a little tankard, like a 250 ml half pint, about 300 ml tankard. So we'd get that honey, so that we had the little tankards. Glasses and stuff I used to buy secondhand, down in charity shops and things like that, because why not? But you want to have some nice things, and those are your investment pieces. Okay, the same with the crockery. You want to have nice crockery. You want everybody to sit together and have matching, and no one sitting there with like the cornflakes bowl. Okay, so they're your investment pieces. Okay, they're your investment purchases. Furniture, investment purchase. All right, it is an investment purchase. Our couch, which is behind us, is covered in, apart from cat, throws to protect the leather. It's a white cream leather couch. It has 2 recliners on it. We picked it up secondhand at the community furniture store, £75. We could never have bought it brand new. Not in the situation we were in at the time. And that was, just wasn't possible, because we purchased that before Tanny was working. But it's an investment. It's an investment in our comfort, our quality of life. So we didn't mind spending that money, but we still found what we wanted secondhand. It was good quality and we got it secondhand. So yeah, it's important. But yeah, sleep on it. Look around. Do your research. Figure out if it's a need or a want. Decide. Make your own decisions. Don't let other people sway you or talk in your ear about things, okay? Because you might end up spending money that you don't have, you don't want to spend. It's earmarked for something else. Only spend what you know you can afford, because if you can't afford it, it's not worth the heartache that's going to come from it. And once you've made that decision, and once you've made that purchase, don't look back. Do not beat yourself up about it. You've gone through all the steps. You've come out the other side and you've bought the piece that you want for whatever it is. Okay? Be happy you've got it. Don't beat yourself up for it. Don't let other people beat you up for it. Don't let them have a go at you about it. This is important stuff, and it's yours. And it's about your quality of life and what is good for you. And once you've got to that stage, let it be. Move on to the next thing, if that's what you want to do. If you've got something else, if you've got a list of things that are wants rather than needs, or needs, then move to the next one. Once you've made that first one, cross it off the list and go to the next one. But don't look back, okay? Now, the other very last thing I want to talk to you about is have 2 options, and this is an extra, okay? Have 2 options. Don't be afraid to take the money off each table. So say you've got 2 things that you're looking at, okay? One's got most of the things you want, but doesn't have other things. This one's got the other things, but doesn't have those things, okay? They're not exactly what you want, but they're both at a price you like. Take the money off the table. Nope, not doing it. Not doing it till I can find the thing that I actually want. I'm not willing to spend that money until I can have the thing that I actually want, or find the thing that I actually want. Don't settle because you feel that there's a time crunch. Okay, there's no time crunch. The only time crunch is what you put on it. Okay, don't be afraid to go, no. Because next week, or even tomorrow, you might find the exact thing that you want at the exact price you want it. And what have you done? You've just spent the money on something that was only half of what you wanted in the first place. And that's no good to anybody. Okay, so if there's anyone in chat right now that wants to ask any questions or, put their things in, please do. I hope this has been helpful to you guys, and I hope that, it has been useful. I haven't put the things up on Patreon yet. I will be doing that. I still have to finish writing up last week's, and I'm going to have to add this week's to it as well. These episodes are the main note-taking information is being written up in PDF form so that you can download it onto your PC or your tablet or whatever, or print it off, whatever's useful for you. So then you'll have all that information there for you at your leisure. Okay. So yeah, I'm still working on those. I'm sorry. It's been a week. So all I'm saying is it's been a week. So yeah, I will get them done. They will be up. They will be up. Now, next week, we're going to be looking at budgeting on benefits. Okay. Now, I am big on this one. I'm quite passionate about it, actually, especially after living in this country on benefits and living a lot of my life on benefits, between either being a single parent or being a disabled person. I want to be able to show you guys how we used to budget and used to be able to thrive, not survive. Okay. These are important things, and I want everyone to be included. I don't want people to feel excluded because of where they're at financially. So I want to show you guys what we used to do. All right. So we will be here, and it will be it'll be Tanny's birthday. Let me talk to Tanny tonight. I want to double check whether he's taking the day off for his birthday or not. Chances are he won't, because he's Tanny and that is what he's like. If he does take his birthday off, there will not be a live. If he doesn't take his birthday off, there will be a live, but I will know in the next 24 hours whether that is happening or not. Do look out for the schedule information. I have figured out how to do that now on Melon. And yeah, so I figured out that I could do that. So have a look for the thumbnail and the schedule marker for next week's live. If there isn't one next Friday, it'll be the week after, because I won't put it on a different day. It'll be on the week after. All right. So yeah, but I wanted to thank you guys for being here today. I really, really do appreciate you very, very much. I know it's an odd time of day. But it's where I have the time. And you can always play catch up, and I'm quite appreciative of people who are playing catch up. It's all good. If you get to see it, you get to see it. And if it helps you, that is why I'm doing these. Okay. So yeah, I guess I will see you guys next week, hopefully, if not the week after. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And yeah, I love you guys heaps. Blessings.